Unipod, the podcast on all things management software.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unipod, the podcast on all things management software. And today we are with Wayne Heath, who will tell us all he knows from his management software journey. And I'm very excited to have you here, Wayne, today. So thank you for coming. Can you please start by introducing yourself and how your journey in the management software world began?
So my name's Wayne Heath, as I think you mentioned already, which is cool. So founder and CEO of ClubRight. And the business came about through a genuine need. And my wife and I own gyms, and we were back in the day looking for a solution to run our business better. And I was amongst bits of paper and all manner of different things, which it wasn't very productive, put it that way. So I started looking at other software solutions, thinking that's what I needed to run my business. Very quickly came to the conclusion that they didn't do what I wanted them to do, didn't really quite understand them, and I couldn't afford them either. And I had the mad cat idea of creating what we have today with ClubRight. ClubRight now services over 1,000 gyms across the UK. We have 3.3 million users, and we enjoy thoroughly what we do. We've had an immense amount of experience of knowing how gyms work. So designing it from a gym owner's perspective, which means it works in the real world as opposed to other software solutions, not just in the gym industry, but a lot of industries. People build softwares that maybe don't work in the real world because they haven't actually done the job. So they don't understand how to solve the problem. So we're very much a market disruptor, and our price point means that our customers love us and our competitors are not particularly pleased about us, which is a great place to be. We love it.
That's a good sign.
Absolutely.
Well, when you decided to start and build your own software, you were a gym owner yourself. Did you have any experience with technical stuff, or how did you go about the idea in the first place?
Yeah, I think from a physical coding point of view, that's not me. I know what needs to be done. I know the order it needs to happen, how it needs to work, and the kind of roadblocks that you would come up against operationally. So I think that's where my skills come in. But obviously, we have a CTO and we have a development team that I've built up over the years. They're the clever girls and boys, in essence, that physically create the code. But code's one thing, but having an idea and knowing what your problem you're solving, and also having a CTO that sees that. And Paul, our CTO, is fantastic. He actually recognizes and wants to make things simple and easy, the same as I do. And that's always been our mission, to make things simple and easy, remove as many steps as we physically can, so that our users actually just get on with using the software.
Yep. Yeah, amazing. So today you have a team and a CTO and developers, but do you think it's important from the start to have a CTO? Like, once you recognize that there is a problem, what's the first thing you would recommend management software?
The first thing to recommend, well, see, we're very different compared to a lot of software companies. Now, I know a number of software companies will go out and raise a lot of money to try and build a product.
Yeah, that's a topic we discussed here on the podcast a few times. What do you think about that?
We did it in a very different way. So we are the company that I literally remortgaged my house, invested every penny into starting a business.
Wow.
And then we, much to my wife's dismay at the time, but anyway, hey ho, it's all worked out for good. But every penny we've earned in terms of the business.
That's what I wanted to say. Your wife was fully onboarded.
She actually had no choice. No.
Okay.
But truthfully, no joking aside, it was a mission of, you can either go and raise a load of money to create an idea, build a product, and potentially sell it. We knew that we could sell it from the beginning. So what we did was, as I said, I remortgaged, started the business. Myself and Paul, the CTO, it was just us to start with. I was the salesperson, the marketeer, the onboarding person, in essence, what's the right way to describe it? Most probably the architect that worked with the technical person, being Paul. So we created the product and we started selling it as we were building it and supporting it as we were selling it. It was a bit of a crazy time. And if I look at it where we are now, we employ 30 people, 3.4 million users on the platform. It's it says a lot. We've done that all ourselves, but through reinvestment of every penny that we've earned to grow the company in an organic way.
Wow. Okay. That's a really inspiring story.
Inspiring and but exciting at the same time.
Yeah, inspiring and mad, definitely. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to be a founder and a CEO of of any company,
I think so.
actually.
It's
But
a challenge.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's nice to hear stories about that really succeed after all, and that you can see yourself from the other side now
Absolutely.
and reflect about it. So yeah, that's nice. You mentioned that pricing is differentiator, if we can call
Yes.
it that way, for a ClubRight. So can you explain a little bit more about your journey with
Yeah.
pricing? Like, did you have any tests that you did along the way? How did you start your pricing, your management software, versus how it is today, what you discovered
Of course.
about it, any trends? Yeah.
Well, I think in essence, from our point of view, it was all about being what they class as that term market disruptor. So coming out with a great product that does a great job at a price that becomes a bit of a no-brainer, so that anyone looking at us, the decision's never the price. It's just, do they like us and do they like the product? Makes it very easy for us to push. In terms of, we can start someone at a low point. We also don't believe in contracts. So we're not a
Mm,
company that believes in contracts, got no desire. We want people to stay with us because they want to. And typically because of that, we have an exceptionally low churn rate each month. And they're mostly the customers that we lose each month will only be ones that have gone broke. Sadly, they're not in business anymore. We seldom lose someone to a different company, of course, because we're so well priced and the product does what the customers need. So in terms of pricing, we wanted to be disruptive. We can come in at as low as £79 a month for one of our products. Then customers, as their business grows or requires new functionality in order to streamline their businesses and automate it, they can invest more money in upgrading to better products within the ecosystem of ClubRight. And then they can actually save themselves even more time for only another £50 a month, for example, and go up to 129, which kind of leads into where other software companies in our space were typically expensive. They tie people into contracts. So we don't have any setup fee. We don't have any limitation on how many members the club can have in their business. We don't have any limitation on how many users. And it's simply a monthly fee.
mhm,
Now, that means we don't restrict the growth of that gym by more members. We don't restrict it by how many users, which is one of the ways in which a lot of softwares do monetize their business, which we chose not to do because we don't agree with it. And our customers like it because we're not holding them back or charging them more for the extra efforts they're putting in to grow their gym membership, which doesn't kind of works against each other really. Which I suppose nicely sort of segues into payments really, which is obviously where we work closely with you guys at Unipass, because payments is all about making things affordable and simple and easy as well. And what we've managed to do with Unipass is let's yet again be disruptive in our pricing point, be disruptive in the service that we provide, and allow everything to work in a way that makes it simple and easy for the customer to find everything they need in one embedded solution within ClubRight.
amazing. Okay, cool. So we'll get to Unipass in
Okay.
one question, but I wanted to ask you about the pricing. You said you have basic the basic pricing
Yep.
package, and then
Yep.
you can upgrade to other products. So I'm curious, like, when you think about your management software, what counts as basic, or what is, the fundamentals of the management software, and then where is the point where you say, okay, this can become something for more advanced gyms, or that, yeah, does
That's
that
a
make
very good question.
sense?
I mean, so yeah, very much so. I mean, I think as a basic product, for want of a better word, ClubRight allows members to join online. We have a class booking facility. We can manage access control. We manage payments. Fundamentally, the basics of being able to operate your business, with a class booking, making sure you know who's arrived and have they paid and have they not paid, and being able to sell memberships and do that by online through social media as well as your own website, etc. All of that is something that we do in the basic product, and that's not necessarily guaranteed that every system does that. That's what we decided to be our basic product.
Yeah, that says a lot about your philosophy, I guess, because marketing in websites is not always part of the basic plan, let's call it,
No,
because it's not, yeah.
and we provide all the links that someone can put onto their website to enable them to do class bookings, etc., which
Hmm.
makes it very simple and easy for the client. The next stage, or the identification for an upgrade, we have account managers in the team now, and they would be working with our clients, identifying their needs, looking at how their business is growing, of course. And now, for some customers, it may well be just perfectly okay to stay on our basic product because it's very much, well, someone's paid, someone's come in, they haven't paid, they came in, they booked a class, and end of the day. They're not really that invested in maybe growing to multiple sites, for example. So if you then see the next level is where a customer wants to create, for example, a member journey, a sales funnel. So they literally start to automate the whole journey of that customer from making inquiry on their website to finally coming in, maybe seeing the gym and then joining, but having lots of different stages of that sales process in a sales funnel, but automation on the back of that to keep the customer engaged. You would have the ability to take a customer on a journey of what is really how they enjoy the start of their journey within a club. Typically, retention of members is one of the biggest challenges most gyms have. So once you've got a member, you want to keep them paying you. And the only way to keep them paying you is to have good engagement with that person to ensure that they like coming along, they feel valued. And of course, the customer is wanting to be there because there's a community and a sense of belonging, and just they feel part of the whole story of what that club is about. And it's not always just the exercise. Having regular communications that are automated, that means the gym owner hasn't got to get worried about doing it, is exactly where you want to be. So
Mm.
that's one of the things that's really powerful. Overdue payments. So we know that sadly customers might not have enough money in their bank account one day to pay their money. Now, having automated ability to not have to individually chase customers for money, which is never a nice thing to do. It's an awkward conversation, but we can automate that, and then we can chase overdue payments through ClubRight. We have rewards programs within our complete solution that someone would upgrade to. So there are many of the reasons why someone would want to do it, but equally, it would be where someone is not just one site, they're multiple sites.
Mm.
And that then becomes even more important, where they really want to explore more and more how that person can grow the business, how they can go from one site to another, maybe buy a membership in Club A, but have access to Club B and C, for example, all through one
Mm.
membership. So there's
Oh,
so many
okay.
things that starts to become more important as that business grows. But fundamentally, I think a lot of it is time saving. If we can help someone save time, that means they can spend more money, more time with their customers to help them grow their business rather than doing admin. That's got to be a winner.
Exactly. Yeah. So fundamentally, as a management software, being able to save time and reduce
100%.
costs is exactly what it is for. And I like what you said about fundamentally that the basic plan is able to keep you well engaged with everything that you really need as a business. I think this is something that in pricing is not so trivial today, and you just sign up to a platform and you immediately need to and you're immediately upselled to more and more products that you need just in order to try the basic first things. So I think it's a really nice approach and philosophy in that sense.
And it is important though, because when you think about how if someone's being upgraded straight away or being pushed to upgrade straight away,
Yeah,
and they're not invested in the original product they buy, they don't see value in what they just purchased, let alone what you might want to sell them.
exactly. exactly.
which is our philosophy, because it's just no point in doing it. It's just you're most probably just annoying person.
I can really relate to that, from the customer's perspective. And also what you said about keeping engagement with the gym. So I'm also, a member of a gym, and they do send me some messages sometime about, hey, why didn't you come this week?
Cool.
And if
It makes
anything
you
is
feel
okay.
wanted, doesn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, yeah. And I know in the back of my mind, I know that it's automated and that it's messages that are being sent through their platform. But still it makes me feel like someone really wants to hear what I have to say. And when I reply, I get feedback. So that's really, really good for the gyms and the clubs and for the customers. So it's really like a
Absolutely.
win-win. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about payments and how. So obviously, when we say payments, we mean the facilitation of enabling the customers of the gyms to pay to the gym. So how did this journey of payments begin within ClubRight? So I know that this is something that can, change along the way, and that you start at one point and then advance into other solutions. So yeah, if you can explain a little bit about your experience with
Yeah, I mean,
this.
we've always been payment driven from the beginning. We might have used these sort of other named companies in the industry to start with, and having direct debit payments and card payments is an intrinsic part of what a customer needs. So we make it very easy for someone to sign up with ClubRight, create their monthly payments, allow them to make one-off payments, allow them to make payments when they arrive into the gym to buy a bottle of water, making things simple and easy all within one place. But at the same time, where you've got a payment generated, the bit that's also important is to know how that's going to be reconciled and accounted for. So money that's collected and then money that's not collected is all shown very clearly within ClubRight. So the embedded system we have allows us to show all of the information in real time, which is obviously very important. But at the same time, also, the money that's collected each day through ClubRight is then pushed into zero at the end of each day by a nominal code, so that the club who's using zero as our integration makes it very easy for them to know exactly how much money they took in that day as well. And it'll all be broken down by nominal code, which reduces their bookkeeping capability or requirements.
Amazing. Okay, so that's all reconciled together on your platform.
Absolutely.
And gyms often, sell memberships. How do you facilitate? How do
How do we facilitate that? So within our
recurring, yeah, recurring memberships?
Okay, so our membership plans within ClubRight, the gym owner can create and build a membership plan they wish to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And then within ClubRight, we are basically building the requirements that this membership allows that customer to have access between a certain hours, allows them to have access to certain classes. That would then be part of a URL, which is then shareable. So then the club can then share the membership via a URL that they can then use on their website or social media, or they can indeed join that customer face to face in the club using our software. But the
Mm-hmm.
membership plan itself is built within ClubRight. We then send the request to say, you guys, that says collect £40 from Wayne on the 1st of October. And then when
Amazing.
that money comes in, we just check it. Everyone's happy. But this is the important piece. If you're on our kind of the upgraded solution, the minute that payment fails, we know that. And then we can start that journey of collecting the overdue payment by automated text messaging, push notification, and email as well.
Without even the gym owner needing to do
100%. Yeah.
anything.
That's the whole point. I think people do find genuinely asking for money a difficult thing to do. Even can sometimes be awkward, can't it? Right. And I think that's one of the things that it solves. If someone's not paying, having to pick up the phone and speak to that person is a difficult conversation. So sending out automation makes it a lot easier. And then you can decide at some stage down the road whether that customer is just going to be a lost cause and they're not coming back and you failed, but how many people you will collect the money from, or at least have a chance to have engagement and find out why they're not coming in. It
Yeah, to
allows you
talk
to
to
do that.
them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it not only saves time, it also saves you the awkwardness or the tasks that you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really like to
No
do.
one
Yeah.
likes asking for money, do they? It's awkward.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even if you're a business owner and it's totally understandable. So, okay, nice. So, were payments on your platform from the start, or is it something that you added feature along the
No,
way?
absolutely from the start. No, from the very beginning, payments has been an intrinsic part of what ClubRight's all about.
Okay, I'm asking because sometimes when adding payments to your platform, you suddenly see more engagement within your platform, less churn within your platform, more revenue per user. So, do you
Yeah,
have
that's
any?
yeah. So that's a different question. So from a point of view of yes, we had a provider that allowed us to do payments before. Fast forward to where we are today, we are making income out of payments. We are allowing our business to grow, and obviously customer spend is growing. But the bit that's important is that we're in control and still being disruptive about the offering that we make.
Mm.
It makes it easy for us to we feel more in control of what we're doing, put it that way.
Do you feel? I mean, feeling is subjective,
No, it's fine.
but yeah, do you feel that there is any other effects of adding embedded payments to your platform other than the monetization? So in terms of maybe the valuation of your company, the growth of your company, the user experience on your platform?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, user experience is the big one for me.
Hmm.
I mean, the growth of the company, obviously, that's a really nice upside, clearly, because that's a good thing. If we are, growth will take care of itself if we're looking after customers and giving them a better experience. So
Yeah,
the
definitely.
sheer fact that a customer using our services can, all within ClubRight, within the embedded solution, see exactly how much they've created today in terms of new payments, how much money is coming in based on the money collected on those payments, ensuring that money is actually paid out to them quickly. And that's actually quite an important one because there's a number of services out there that hang on to money for quite a long time before it gets paid to the gym owner, which yet again is it's not right because that cash, however small or large, is critical to help them run that business and pay their bills. But the user experience about the customer not having to dive in and out of different applications to find out the answer to a simple question is really important. The other thing that we've really noticed more and more, certainly over the last few years, is the fact that the way it's set up and the embedded look of it does mean that it's reduced our support. So customers
Mm.
asking questions that were having to be answered by another provider outside have just been, well, it's almost non-existent by comparison to what it was, which is really good
Nice.
because,
Okay.
well, and the nice benefit of that, I suppose, is the fact that rather than not firefighting, but rather than answering questions that should be answered in a better way, we're not having to do the mediocre questions anymore. We can be potentially more consultative and more helpful to the actual user of our software, as opposed to saying, well, where's this payment? What's going on here? What's happening here? What's going on there? Where's this payment gone? They can see it and they can be directed to see it and confidently find it themselves without even having to take up our time. And it's also frustrating. If you're a user of something, you don't want to be, I always liken it, you don't want to be the kid in the maths class that puts their hand up asking a question, right? Because you just don't want to look the idiot. No one wants to
Yeah.
look the fool and no one wants to
Yeah.
ask those questions. So if they can find the answers to their questions themselves, they'd be a lot happier. So I think it solved a lot of those kind of problems as well.
Yeah, nice. I mean, we use this term of owning payments as part of the payment journey that you develop inside your management software. And I think you're describing really this point where you own payments and you don't need to rely on third parties. You don't need to rely on their service or customer support or making sure that they don't even damage your brand eventually because it's under your name and you facilitate it so you
Exactly.
can really feel more comfortable when you're owning everything under your own platform. Nice. And you also mentioned the cash flow as a part of the benefits that you have. That's also very critical for small medium
Mm,
businesses, right? So
very much so.
yeah. Nice. Can you tell us a bit about how the migration from several payment providers to Unipass went for you and going from this external third parties into an embedded solution? How was the migration flow and how did it work?
Well, the easy thing is it worked really well. That's the first thing. It took an element of work on both sides to get to a point and make it possible. But the reality is that our goal was to try and remove as many roadblocks as we physically could, and also any heavy lifting that the customer had to do. Because if they have to do a lot of heavy lifting or there's concern in it, they will feel nervous about doing a migration because it's their customers' money. So the process we put together between us has allowed it to be very simple and very easy. We have a team of people our side that deal with migrations. We have like a concierge migration service, but in essence, we're kind of hand holding the process. But the reality behind the scenes is that we've made it ridiculously easy to do, to a point where it takes minutes once it's in place to take place. The level of disruption to the customer's existing customers' payments from the previous provider that are now being moved over is none. It really is straightforward and transparent. It's very, very
So
simple.
customers that want to move from the older payment provider to your now, it doesn't require anything from them. It's just frictionless.
Well, we have conversations. There's an element of work, but it's next to nothing. I mean, it really is small.
Mm-hmm.
Almost more like about, well, we want your authority to do it. Yes. Can we do this? Yes. We're going to let you know that this is going to happen on this date. Great news. Off you go. And it's more or less that. There's not
Nice.
a lot involved
Yeah.
from their point of view. There's a little bit of work from our point of view, but no, we are here to eliminate that heavy lifting, because if we've got their existing customers over into the ClubRight service within ClubRight Pay, what that then means is that they've still not got members in the old legacy system as well as the new ones created in ClubRight Pay. So,
Nice.
because that's one of the benefits of ClubRight. If a customer genuinely doesn't want to move, we can still support the old system and have the new customers being created in the new system. They can coexist together. But what eventually the customer realizes that, you know what, we may as well just move the whole lot over, and then they'll do it anyway. But sometimes people feel a bit nervous, which is fine. Despite it's an easy transition, we've got plenty of customers that will tell you how easy that transition was and what a difference it's made to their business.
Nice. Yeah, okay. So you're not forcing the transition, so you're still allowing for everybody to use whichever they
Yeah, we've
use,
always
but
had a very open approach, because forcing people down a road that they may or may not feel comfortable with can cause conflict. And
yeah,
we don't want them to feel that way. First and foremost, being honest, brutally honest, all I'm interested in paying me for ClubRight. That's my first thing. Now, if they're,
the membership fee,
yeah, the subscription they pay
the
to us
subscription.
to use our service. Yeah, so the subscription. When we start to add the other services on, which they will need, have to, and will want to use, and it would be mad if they didn't, you know, we don't force them to go down certain roads if they're particularly happy where they are with certain road in a certain setup. But all new payments will always be created by ClubRight Pay and what we do, even though
Nice.
legacy stuff may just sit there for a
Yeah,
little while until they feel confident to move it over.
it can sound a bit complex or that it will require, a bit more effort than what you described. But once it's so easy and it's also, you're not being forced or pushed to do it. So I assume that's the right approach in that sense, the open approach. And
Hmm.
when you said open approach, I was immediately thinking about integrations or APIs versus building yourself. You don't need to answer specifically about payments, but when building a management software, you want to be able to serve a lot of aspects of operating a business. So from marketing to payments to scheduling to bookings to sales. And I'm always curious in hearing like when do you decide to build an API and connect to an external? So you mentioned Zero before, so like an
Yeah.
accounting system.
Yeah.
And when do you prefer to build something yourself that you own, that you facilitate from end to end, that you have like a certain edge to? That makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think it's a good question, to be fair. I mean, I think something like Zero is a good example. Ultimately, we could, if we wanted to, start to build an accounting service. Now, would we be as good as Zero or QuickBooks? No, we wouldn't, because that's what they do. That's what they do really well. The same as we do membership management really well. So why
Hmm.
would Zero want to build what we've got? So an integration is something that makes sense for certain services. We're integrated with many fitness solutions in the industry. So Technogym, for example, on a worldwide basis, we're integrated with them to make their customer journeys really simple and easy. MyZone, eGym, the list goes on of companies that actually work with us to introduce customers to us because they know that the solution we've got between both companies solves the customer's problem that they're selling to. So using Technogym as an example, the Technogym equipment is, then whenever a member joins, ClubRight pushes the member into the Technogym systems. So then the
Wow.
Technogym systems can do the wonderful things that Technogym systems do. But it means that the gym owner hasn't had to do anything to make that possible. We've removed that
Wow.
manual work. So we will choose to do um, integrations or building work that either attracts new customers, like the Technogym integration, or earns us money like the one that we've got right now. So, but when it comes to some companies offering open APIs, no, we just don't believe in doing that. We only want to support what we want to support that is good for our customers and things that we believe are valuable. When it comes to building things ourselves, we, as a company, we're very proud to say we have potentially two releases of product every month,
Wow.
which is, a lot of people go, well, that's just insanity. But yes, you could argue it most probably is, but we enjoy creating new things. We like making new features that are features that are customers. We have customers that give us ideas. We have our own ideas. We have our own product roadmap, but that is a collaborative involvement. So we do want to get customers' involvement and ideas. And many of those ideas come to reality and they become part of the ClubRight system.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, when balancing resources, this becomes really important on deciding where you put which effort. So,
Yes.
yeah, but I think it's nice that you say some companies already do what they do best, and you just want to, partner with them and allow the gyms to have a smooth experience. But then you can also still be very technical savvy and, really want to develop and it helps you focus, right?
Absolutely, 100%. No, we can be good at what we do. I mean, you can't be everything to all people. It's just
Hmm.
not it's not reality. But if you stick to the roadmap that you're good at, that's where your strength is, and then integrate with those that have a specific system or benefit to your customer. Then it's worth doing an integration because both parties are going to benefit. But most importantly, the customer that's paying both parties will also benefit. So it's a win-win, like we said earlier.
Yeah. So when talking about focus, a lot of the times when I speak to management software leaders, we talk about the vertical or the industry that they serve. And I'm always surprised on how specific the vertical can get. And some management software companies decide to focus on a very super specific niche, let's say even like a specific kind of club, like martial arts. But then there are also management software leaders that decide to expand horizontally, let's call it, and
Uh-huh.
be helpful for clubs and maybe also clinics and maybe also salons. So yeah, where are you on the scale? I guess the
Well, I
question
mean, it's an
is.
interesting, very, very interesting question. I mean, fundamentally, the strength of our business is in gyms, fitness centers. However, we are very strong in martial arts, which is interesting you
Hmm,
mentioned that. Boxing
yeah,
clubs,
funny.
dance schools, gymnastics. They're also areas that we're growing in quite quickly. And potentially as the journey goes on, we may well end up becoming even more strategic in our approach to that. Purely and simply because you need to be talking the same language. But fundamentally the product's the same. I mean, we have bizarrely car clubs. So,
What
it's a
is a car
membership.
club?
So someone who owns a certain car, model of car, and then you've got a whole load of people that enjoy that particular, say, Mercedes C-Class, and everyone loves Mercedes C-Class, and then you've got a load of owners clubbed together as a Mercedes C-Club.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even know
So
that
we've got a car
kind
club.
of club exists.
It's the same service that they needed. They needed to get membership. They needed to get payments. They needed to have bookings. They need to see who's paid and who's not. And they've looked for a solution beyond the spreadsheets they've had for years, and then thought, well, hang on a second, that's similar to a gym. Well, maybe we'll have a look
Hmm.
at a gym software. And then,
Hmm.
we get those kind of things as well. Nail bars as well. Nail bar not long ago. So someone's
Really?
selling a subscription to have people's nails maintained. Very
Yeah,
clever
yeah.
idea. Really
So
clever.
yeah, so nails, salon, aesthetics, like
Exactly.
yeah, and it's all organically like coming from the customers itself, not like a strategic
Yeah, I mean, I
expansion
think
plan.
those sort of things are coming organically because, quite frankly, I would have never have given that a second thought. But when it comes to martial arts, boxing, gymnastics, and dance schools, they have been on our radar for a while, and they're steadily growing in different areas. And at some stage, we most probably might well focus more on those areas. Maybe
Hmm.
even having a dedicated team. Who knows where that journey may take us? But the whole sales team, the products, it services these areas very, very well.
Hmm.
It's a growing, martial arts certainly is a growing area.
Nice, nice. Okay, so a few, conclusion or more philosophical questions.
Oh my God, that could go on.
Okay, good. I need that spirit for now. So I don't know if you'll relate, but in 2025, it kind of becomes more difficult to stand out, and the market is being more and more crowded. And still, like, how do you still? So we talked about pricing and the pricing point, but still, how do you differentiate yourself in a crowded market, and how do you approach this marketing or growth challenge today?
I think, fundamentally, we do have a very strong price point, and I think that's always going to be a major selling point. The fact that we have a raft of happy customers that are happily talking about what we do, we're building that community, which is always a real positive. But fundamentally, I think it's the fact that we are very transparent. Now, unlike
Mm,
you can look at across the board at all gym softwares, there are hardly any that do what we do in terms of we say how much we are up front. We actually don't tie people into contracts. They could get signed up with us without doing anything. We make it easy. And I think people like that transparency because if they're having to be, don't get me wrong, we have a sales team and they do advise and sell to customers. Of course they do, because otherwise people wouldn't know how to get the most out of our software and what we can actually do for more information. But we have a consultative approach. We're not like many software salespeople that I've come across over the years that have tried to sell me other softwares that we actually use as a business as well, of course. And it's just so boring. It's just like it's not relevant. They're just pushing features, not the benefits. It's just death by PowerPoint. It's just really not relevant or exciting an understanding of my business needs. So for me, that's one of the biggest things that we do. And I think from marketing's point of view, surprisingly, we actually don't spend a lot of money on it.
mm,
We're actually very much we have a team of salespeople. We have outbound BDRs people making appointments and speaking to customers and potential opportunities. Recommendation is quite a large part of our business, but equally our businesses themselves growing as well to having more than one site. There's a whole myriad of things. So from a marketing perspective, yes, we have a lot of socials. We have a lot of content that we share. We have a blog post, which are always, and going back to what we were saying earlier, it's all about maybe either being education, but also helping people. I think trying to give people genuine understanding that well, we know this market, we understand the market, and that's why we will be the go-to people.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, on the marketing bit, being educators and really helping businesses and coming from that approach is really what I think customers today appreciate more and connect with more rather than, more ads, more ads, more ads. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I completely agree on that. And one more hot topic that a lot of people like to discuss now is obviously AI and how this is integrated in your business or not, or in customer support. So, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I mean, to be AI is a very interesting thing. It's one of those things that can be badly implemented or potentially also misunderstood. So
Mm,
you're overusing it. So currently, from an AI perspective, we are going to be launching in the near future part of an AI service within ClubRight. The idea being is that it will allow customers to start to, if they wanted to create a Facebook post about, say, a Zumba class that they want to put out on socials,
nice.
we will allow them to be able to create a suitable Facebook post in seconds that they can then send out. We're looking
Nice.
to use the AI that's looking at this customer's individual data to start asking its questions about their club,
Hmm.
starting to help them maybe set up a membership plan quicker than actually how they can do it now. Various different ways of using AI to make it not take over, but supplement what they want to do. And from a support point of view, we are AI first now, have been for quite some time.
That's quick.
Oh yeah, I mean, I won't mention the company we're using because they're doing an amazing job, but it's maybe not me them advertising them. But the AI does work brilliantly. So what it allows us to yet again deal with customers that want to deal with, well, need to speak to someone as opposed to not. So 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, service is answering questions brilliantly, and getting rid of many of the mediocre questions, and now getting very complex questions answered as well. So it then means that if they want to ask to talk to one of the members of staff, if we haven't been able to give them a good enough answer that's given them the answer they need at the time, and they've still got more questions, they can speak to someone when the office is open again.
So, yeah, two questions about that. First of all, how does the AI know or understand ClubRight and what it should respond to the customer? And then, second question is, did you see any effect on the capacity that your customer support team can handle? Did it free time for them? Did it like,
Yeah, I mean, our knowledge base is the area that the information comes from, and we permanently
so it's
upgrade. And
integrated to the knowledge base?
yeah, the knowledge base that we use for our support service
Hmm.
powers the whole of the AI from a support point of view. But for the AI that we're developing as ClubRight within our system will be powered off the data that's in that particular club. So that's two
Hmm.
separate systems, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What's really interesting is how it has freed up the team. So I think as we've grown exponentially each month of the year, and if we had to continually invest in more people to service that, that would have increased our costs quite dramatically because we've got on a really good growth curve, but at the same time, you don't want to keep adding more cost in if someone is, needing another body, should we say, to actually do that job. You're just, putting more and more investment into salaries that maybe you don't need. But at the same time, it's also allowed us to invest in people and have a different approach. So originally, this only happened a few months ago, we used to have first line support. So the chatbot, our AI started to get better and better. We then recognized that first line support maybe wasn't really what's needed anymore.
First
And we
line
had
support,
those,
you mean human support?
yes, yeah, human first line support. So someone, saying, I don't know, well, I need to change my password or whatever that question might be, or I've got a problem with a member. Can you tell me why this hasn't been paid? Or some simple question that would typically have been answered by a human being. We've removed first line support completely. It's gone. What's now happened is that we do have someone managing parts of that element, but the support team are now all customer service people that do onboarding of the customer and the journey of that customer, as well as a much less resilient or need for first line support, because those
Nice.
questions have reduced dramatically. So when
Wow.
someone
Okay.
says, oh, that hasn't really answered my question, can I speak to someone? They're the ones we're dealing with, but we've most probably gone through quite a lengthy triage process where the chatbot has knocked off lots of different reasons why it could or couldn't have happened, to a point where it may not have answered the question. They do need to speak to somebody. And then that's those people now deal with it, as opposed to having a couple of people that were dedicated to that function only. It's allowed us to be more flexible. And it makes it more interesting for the team. They're not just dealing with support queries. They're dealing with a customer journey, helping them get excited about the new product they purchased, helping them maybe upgrade from one product to another. There's a myriad of job satisfaction, I think, comes from that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think one of the fears about AI was that it's going to take, some of the work of employees. But I think what you described here is like much more exciting. It
I
takes
think so.
maybe it takes the boring work away that the
Yeah.
AI bots can solve very, very quickly and efficiently, and then it frees up some time to invest in the user experience, in the onboarding and upgrading. Yeah, so customer support becomes like something more in that area.
It's a lot
So
more consultative that way.
yeah, yeah,
And
amazing.
that's pretty quite important.
Cool. Wayne, it was a very pleasant discussion. I
Good.
learned a lot and I'm happy we we still had the chance to do it.
No, me too. Really pleased.
So thank you very much for coming and sharing your story. It was brilliant. And thank you to all our listeners. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.